Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing. Excuse me. I'm going to continue to discuss the Lethal Weapon series. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the third film, which of course was appropriately titled Lethal Weapon 3, which came out in 1992, 3 years after the second film. Now, of course, this one, you can really tell that Mel Gibson and Danny Glover were getting tired of doing these movies. Particularly Danny Glover, you can tell he really shows his age in this film. He's getting way too old to play this part, and Mel Gibson still looks about the same to do these movies, but not Danny Glover, and the two of them just didn't get along because we know how much of a racist and anti-Semite Mel Gibson is. So that tension, I think the tension was there. Of course, this was like years before the infamous incident with Mel Gibson. But anyway, I digress. In the third film, it was not only was it getting tired, this buddy cop team was getting tired by then, but so was the Lethal Weapon series getting pretty tiresome by then, because you already just concluded the whole backstory with Riggs, with his wife being killed in the second film. And then Mel Gibson had a love interest and she was killed in the second film. So this film is like, what the hell are they going to do in this film? This one. Well, in this film you have a former cop named Jack Travis. I forgot the name of the actor who played the part, but the character's name was Jack Travis, who was a former cop, who was a dirty cop. As dirty as they come, as ruthless as they come, and he decides to screw the LAPD, and he steals guns from the LAPD to commit his other crimes, or to commit various crimes, and a front that he had out in the desert is building this housing thing out in the desert, and to supply that he sells illegal guns to these, various either gangs or drug dealers, wherever he could sell them to, these various illegal weapons dealers. That's pretty much what's the plot. Of course, they brought back the original cast. Even they brought back Joe. They had two. Well, they brought back one character. They brought back the Joe Pesci character, who was totally, I mean, I like Joe Pesci, but there's no real logic in the world to bring back the Joe Pesci character. Because I thought that it should have been a one-shot deal with Joe Pesci being a federal witness that Riggs and Murtaugh were protecting in the second film. Well, since all those guys were killed off in the second film, he doesn't need to be protected anymore. So now he's free to do whatever, and he was in this movie. He was into real estate, and he was being a realtor and selling Murtaugh's house. That's how he's involved in this thing. And it's like, really, to bring back Joe Pesci in this film? And that was actually the first Lethal Weapon film that I actually went to see in the movie theaters, and was the only one of the series that I actually went to see. And it was really a waste of the Joe Pesci character, and he was in very little in this film, and I'm going to explain it in a minute. And they brought in a new character, a new love interest for Riggs, and who in the film, a fellow police officer, and who was played by Rene Russo, who of course has been around for a few years. At that point, she did for the first two Major League films. She was in another movie with Jim Belushi called Mr. Destiny. So, and a couple years later, she starred with Kevin Costner in the Tin Cup movie, which I recently reviewed. So she's been around a while, and she's in this movie. Of course, she's a hottie, and admit that. But she was in this movie to play like a female version of Riggs. I am not kidding. Of course, the plot of this film. Of course, the first opening sequence that had to do with a bomb in the building, and Riggs accidentally set it off. And of course, they got busted by the patrolman, and not killing a patrolman. And they do have a reference to that to Rodney King in this film, believe it or not, because this movie came out the same year they had the LA riots, and so they had the whole thing when Riggs decides to write up a ticket to a guy who was jaywalking, and of course the guy was being a jerk, so Riggs wants to shoot him, and of course Murtaugh talks him out of it. So video cameras, reference to, of course, the Rodney King incident. So you had that reference, and then they had this whole big chase scene with guys robbing an armored car, and one of the guys who got arrested was having to be a guy who was involved with Jack Travis, and Jack Travis comes into the police station and actually kills him. I'm not kidding. I mean, come on. I mean, who the F is this guy? Nobody realized that this guy was not a cop. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. And of course, this whole investigation was involved with Renee Russo's character, because she's with Internal Affairs at the LAPD. So she comes in and she's like, oh hellfire, and trying to pull Riggs and Murtaugh off the case. But then they get the detective badges back after a few days. And of course, I should also mention before I go any further that this was supposed to have been last week that Murtaugh was working on the force because he was planning on retiring. That's why he was planning to sell the house through Leo Getz, of the Joe Pesci character. But I should mention that the reason why you don't have that much scenes in there with Joe Pesci, because I think it was at the same time they was filming Lethal Weapon, Lethal Weapon 3, Joe Pesci was also filming a little movie called My Cousin Vinny, which was a hell of a bad performance they did in this thing, because there was so few scenes with him in here. And of course, you also had the FU scene, talking about the hospital. They F you in the hospital. First they drug you, then they F you. And when they get done F'ing you, along comes the insurance company, and they F you some more. They tell you $10 for a stick in aspirin. I mean, he went through that whole shtick, and that was probably the best material he had in the whole thing. Of course, Riggs and Murtaugh trying to stop Travis from doing whatever he was doing, and of course, had several big action sequences, several chase scenes. One was memorable was in the LA arena where the LA Kings were playing, and they had some cheap shots with some hockey players there, and that's where Joe Pesci got shot. And that's how he gets rented out for a good chunk of this film, because, like I said earlier, he was doing My Cousin Vinny. I think he was doing My Cousin Vinny at the same time. So you had Renee Russo being the new love interest for Riggs, and of course they get on, and there was like one pretty funny scene where the two of them were Riggs and Sergeant Cole, which is the Renee Russo character, comparing the scores of bringing on the job. Oh, I got shot here, the shoulder, I got shot here. And you see a little tummy from Renee Russo, which is the only skin you're ever going to see from her, because that's about it, unfortunately. Then you have Riggs showing everybody the scores that he got from the last movie, actually, believe it or not. All the gunshot wounds, the knife in his leg, from the big fight scene that he had in the second film. So he was comparing all that stuff. While that was going on, like I said, that the guy who was the villain in this movie, Jack Travis, was stealing guns from the supplies from a warehouse that the LAPD has and giving it to the gangs and weapons dealers and whomever. And one of these guns had him in the hands of a friend of Murtaugh's son, who was in the gang. And Murtaugh shoots and kills him. And of course, if it was made in 2018 instead of back in 1992, was the parents. I was very, very surprised, even at that time, in 1992, when this film came out, that the parents didn't charge Murtaugh of being a racist because he killed an innocent black child. Right? Well, today it would have been. It would have been hard because Murtaugh was a black character. It was Riggs that shot the guy, instead of Murtaugh. They were want Riggs fired from the police force for shooting a innocent black child. I mean, they could have put that stuff in there as well, but they didn't. Right? But that's what they did. Have Murtaugh shoot the black guy instead of Riggs. And of course Murtaugh goes on a drinking binge because of being first so guilty, could have killed a young boy. Oh, I killed a young boy. It could have been my son. Could have been you. Right? And all that stuff. And Murtaugh and Riggs says to him, "Look, he will have killed us. It doesn't matter how old the guy, how old he is. He was gunning for us, and you did the right thing by killing him." But that doesn't matter. Even though Murtaugh was clear of the shooting, it was a clean shoot, Riggs backed him up, but still, he goes on a drinking binge, and they got into Riggs and Murtaugh actually got into a physical fight, which didn't last all 5 seconds in the course of the film, but they had that little subplot, and they actually go to the funeral of this guy, and the mother attacks the Murtaugh, stabs him in the face, and the father was a little bit more sympathetic to Murtaugh's. Says, "You want to do something, Murtaugh, Sergeant Murtaugh? You go after the guy who put the gun in my son's hand. You do that." And of course, like I said, if Murtaugh was white instead of black, they would label him as a racist cop for shooting a black kid. Like what's going on today now. Anytime that's why crime is going up, because they don't want to stop any black guys. The cops, of course, in the United States. But that's like I digress. Of course, during the course of the movie, of course, they do stop the Travis at the end of the film, and they do have one pretty good chase scene through the subway tunnel. And they go, LA, and there's one cop there that says, "Oh, the LA has subways?" Because they were chasing the guys as Travis was making another raid on the LA storage facility where they had all these guns. And of course, one of the other things that was also going on was that Travis was also stealing and using, not only Travis but Travis's boys they were using hollow point bullets, or it's commonly known as cop killers, on his guns to kill cops. And of course, during that scene when just managed getting into it, when Travis makes this raid on the LA storage facility, they use cop killers and they kill this young 22-year-old cop. They did do that in this scene. And of course, later on in the movie, they found out that Travis has this thing they was building, this condo community out in the desert, and they go out there and they burn the whole place down. They have this whole firefight scene, and Renee Russo comes in to back them up, and she gets shot. Spoilers, she gets shot, so they think, okay, she'll get killed again. They'll kill off another girlfriend for Riggs, but they didn't. She lived because she wore 2 vests, bulletproof vests. So that's what saved her life. Spoiler for those who didn't see the movie. Of course, what happens, of course, Travis does get killed because Riggs used, the hollow point bullets to kill Travis, because Travis was coming after him with like a plow, with one of the machines, construction machines there, like a plow, and he used them, and the bullets went through the plow and into Travis, and there wasn't a real big fight, fist fight scene in this one. But like I said, this one was really getting tight. And of course, big shock at the end, or the last scene at the end, was that Murtaugh decides not to retire at the end of this film. Well, maybe he should have retired. That way there won't be a Lethal Weapon 4, which I'm going to review next. It will be the 4th and final film, thank goodness, of the Lethal Weapon series. Me personally, I do like the movies, and I'm saying I don't, but like I said earlier in the time of this review, Lethal Weapon 4 was getting, I was going to say Lethal Weapon 3, Lethal Weapon 3, the act was getting tired. It was getting tiresome. especially the important Joe Pesci keep bringing back the Joe Pesci character for the third and fourth, and of course in the fourth film they keep bringing him back. In the fourth one, even though it was an interesting premise for the fourth, and I will discuss it in details for the fourth movie when I do a separate review on that, but it was getting like some really silly crap. I mean, you get tired of the Rich Murtaugh stuff by the time you do the fourth one, and then comes like 6 years later after this one. But this movie, I think it should have ended it, and I think that we did a cast thing on the Oprah Winfrey show. By the time the third movie came out, and a fan or someone in the audience actually said going to be Lethal Weapon 4 after this movie. And it says, well, if your fans keep bugging the studio for it, there probably will be one. But he doesn't. But I think Dan Glover said if your fans keep bugging the studio, there's going to be a fourth one. I guess that it took him, for some reason, it took him 6 years in between the two films, which is a long time for the sequels. And like I said, they should have stopped at the third one, especially after they brought back the Joe Pesci character and then again in the next one. And so that's, I know I'm doing a little like preview for the next video, but that's my review of Lethal Weapon 3. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, that's all WDY, C.com, that's the whole page of the Rally Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website as well. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.